All right, all right. Happy New Year to everybody, and welcome to the first official. Well, I'm sorry, the first podcast of the new year for Channel Mass Effect. I'm your host KC, and I am joined along with. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mark.
He's Mark. He's one of my returning. Well, he's going to be familiar voice for you. So yeah, so we're gonna start the new year off right. We're gonna get you a podcast. I'm definitely sorry about the delay for this podcast and another podcast. Yeah, the other podcast we did, it kind of got lost. So, and I found it, but we're working on getting the audio back. But other than that, we're gonna go forward. So again, happy New Year, and again, this is the first podcast for the new year, and we're gonna get right into some Mass Effect. So, a lot of the not a lot. It wasn't a lot, but it's enough. So CES 2017 just finished or wrapped up. I want to believe I want to say today, and depending on
I,
when I
I
released this, did it wrap up today?
no, I think I think the actual show is a couple more days, but
In a couple more days? Okay, so
well, I mean, it's ongoing. It's several days. Um, Wednesday was the keynote before it started, so I figure, well, I don't really know, and I don't really. I believe it ends sometime Sunday.
okay, okay, so um, we'll definitely get into what everybody's been waiting for, the Mass Effect. So I believe the Mass Effect trailer showed yesterday. The gameplay showed yesterday, or depends on when you're watching this.
Oh, if you actually, it was Wednesday,
Wednesday.
so
It showed Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. All right. Well, it showed Wednesday, and we're gonna get into that. But let's first start off with the release date, which I believe came out. The official release date is March 21st. Yep, March 21st.
unless you live in Europe, in which case I'm sad for you. It's March 23rd.
Well, for the U.S., it's going to be March 21st. And if you haven't already pre-ordered, now is your time to do so. Go ahead and pre-order. I know a lot of people are kind of against pre-ordering because they say it's it's just feeding into what they already say is it's not good because they kind of encourage you to pre-order a game that you haven't really that nobody has really tested. But if you're really into it, pre-order. I've already pre-ordered, so I'm a part of the problem.
I became part of the problem earlier today.
So we are both part of the problem on why pre-ordering is bad, but that's besides the point. So something when I was watching the press conference, or just specifically the Mass Effect portion of it, one thing he pointed out that I didn't really pay attention to was the date itself, 321, and he's like blast off. So maybe that was done on
Right.
purpose. So
I think I saw something from Aaron Flynn where that was not intentional, but someone else pointed it out to him.
oh well, it's cool if they even though it was probably they probably didn't even think about it, but that's pretty cool.
But yeah, having a countdown is nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. So we literally have what
74 days.
74
Not that
days.
I'm keeping track.
Oh yeah, you're definitely keeping track. So 74 days until the game actually releases, and yeah, we've been waiting. We speculated the dates. A lot of people said, "Wait, is this the date? This is around the same date that, or not the year, but like around the same date that Mass Effect 3 and 2 released." If I'm not mistaken, not
Um,
not exact date, but around that same date.
uh, 3 released earlier in March, and I believe 2 released in February. But Yeah, it's roughly the same time of year.
Okay, so 3 did release, and we still have March release dates, except for 2. I don't remember when 3 released, but you know, I mean not 3. I don't remember when the first one released. I'm sorry, I don't remember when
That
the
was actually November, I believe.
November. Okay, so
In fact, I believe it was the number November 20th because there's tweets about the ninth anniversary,
oh,
which
okay, okay, all right, so that makes sense as well. So we got the release date. Again, pre-order whatever you can. I like I said, we're a part of the problem, but we're gonna go ahead and get into our trailer break. One of our first talking points, one of our first official talking points, the gameplay trailer and the breakdown of the trailer. So, what are your thoughts on the gameplay so far, Mark? What you seen?
um, it's still only partial. You know, um, you know, I still have questions about certain things, like uh, uh, companions other than icons are really not been shown much. Um, but and the combat so far, at least, it's been emphasized to be a lot more mobile than traditional Mass Effect. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but
Well,
so far so good.
yeah, so far so good. I mean, from what I have seen from the trailer, I mean, not just from the gameplay itself. Well, first of all, they're playing on the Xbox, which probably why the just it didn't look as good as it when they first rolled out like the first not a well
The PS Pro.
yeah, the PS Pro one looked way better. So and I'm not going to get into the specs just yet. That's going to probably be the last thing we get into because that's probably we're gonna have a whole conversation about that. But as far as what I'm seeing, the gameplay it's cool. I can't say it's bad or but from what I've seen, the layouts from the even from the jump where you get to pick your squad, the whole interface. I like it's a revamped interface. So what you're seeing is now you're seeing how your squad and how you can add points to your tech or your combat all on one same screen, and it's not like everywhere. I feel like they kind of simplified the layout a little bit because in previous Mass Effects it was I wouldn't say it was all over the place, but it was just like you had to go to one screen to get to another. But I like this layout. I like the interface now. I can't. That's one positive I will say about the overall gameplay. Seeing that.
Yeah, we may be tangenting a bit, but there previous games you had what, maybe 7 abilities total,
7 a bit.
8 with the one that you got from one of your companions, maybe. And this, I saw it counted 9 tech abilities
Yeah, you would be right. So there were 9.
plus plus 3 passives.
So there were 9. So I'll let you know what all 9 were. Um, the first one was overload. The second one was incinerate. You had one for assault turret. Then you had another one for cryo beam. Another one for energy drain. And there's one interesting one on here as well. Remnant VI.
Yeah, I gotta wonder if you start with that skill or whether you gain it at some time during the game.
Yeah, that one was very interesting. And then after Remnant VI, there's invasion team support and offensive tech and auxiliary system. And then the one that is shown off during the gameplay is the flamethrower, which I don't know. I feel like perplexed about that one. the flamethrower ability because it looks like it I understand from it's something new.
Well, actually, ME3 multiplayer had it on 3 different characters.
But like for it to be like this, I don't know. I don't know. I feel weird about the flamethrower. I don't know because you talk about the multiplayer. I've dabbled in the multiplayer just a little bit, but actually no, I'm lying. I play a lot of the multiplayer, but I don't know. For them to actually be showing it now,
Yeah, I think it may be one of those abilities that has nice visual effect, if nothing else.
that's true.
Yeah, I'm curious what cryo beam looks like,
Me,
and hopefully it's better than cryoblast from the previous game.
what if it is just Cryoblast and they just renamed it?
Well, then I'd be sad and wouldn't use it much.
Right, right. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I feel like that they just renamed it. It's gonna be the same technique, but it's the same thing. Um, and let's talk about some of the enemies. So I noticed that there were several enemies. They all kind of look the same. They're all like shape and
I
form.
think they're all remnant or
Yeah. Like you had one that was called the Assembler, one that called the Nullifier, and the Observer, and the Destroyer. Hmm. They, like I said, they all kind of look the same, but I guess. What do you think about the planet or the planet that he was actually on that Scott Ryder was on?
Look pretty. I wouldn't want to visit there.
Yeah,
Uh, and in spite of the near complete lack of PB sightings, that was PB's loyalty mission, or at least part of it.
yeah. I mean, you can see it like in the hub, mysterious or PB, a mysterious remnant signal. Yep.
Yeah.
So the overall trailer, what would you give it if you had to rank it like out of five? We'll make it easy. Out of five, what would you rank the
I'm gonna go with 4.
four?
It's pretty good, kind of short. Um, and I would have loved to have seen some biotic and combat abilities.
That's true. That's true. I'm the same. I'll say four as well. Um, I think they should have played it on the PlayStation Pro at least, as opposed to the Xbox One. But that's neither here nor there. I've never been a real like graphics whore anyway, but just the look of it. Um, the overall background was cool. The enemies, I think they should have had a little bit like uh, more diverse enemies. Those look like just
I think almost everything in that trailer was from one uh, quest. So
they should have had a little bit more action. I feel like it should have been more eye popping. You can see, or maybe like a semi boss fight with the cat or something. I would love to see that as well. That'd have been cool. But
I don't know. I have the feeling they may keep the bosses close to their vests until right up until release or close by.
true. Well, again, it was okay. Like I said, I'll give it a 4. It wasn't bad. Um, you've seen a lot of the aspects of what you can change and your crew and the different interface. It's a lot cleaner. I will say that it's a lot cleaner than previous Mass Effects, and like that kind of sold me as far as when you have to go in and change something. I like that, and I would like to see how they actually work with each other. The not the co-op, but the your
the
squad mate.
the
Like,
team coordination,
yeah, I
as
would
it
like to
were.
see how that actually works. So I would like to see more of that as opposed to Scott just going down there and shooting random enemies. I would like to see team coordination, like you said. Um, what if you could point out anything that was actually wrong with this? What would you point out for?
Um, I don't know. I thought the dodging through the asteroids at the beginning was kind of showy, uh, but it also felt like, why would any sane person do that?
You know what? I was thinking that are they trying to show us it now? Is this a cut scene or are they trying to show us the exploration like with the ship with the
I
Tempest
gotta think it's a cutscene,
and
just because I've heard reports that you don't actually control um, the Tempest directly.
I that's another thing I would like to see that too. I would like to see how you actually would move through space. Um, Now it seems like it sort of seems like they're going back to the formula of ME1 where it's well ME1 wasn't it was the first of its kind, but um we haven't seen too much of the what was the vehicle's name? I forgot the vehicle's name.
The Nomad,
The Nomad,
the original or the new one?
the new one, the Nomad.
The
We
Nomad,
didn't
yeah.
see too much of the Nomad either, but and they were kind of cutting scenes out. It was like edited everywhere. Like I didn't see Scott make the transition down to actually face the enemies. Like it
Right.
just kind of phased into him going into shooting, guns blazing. Um, you know,
Yeah, but would you want to see 2 minutes of him, climbing down the cliff from that opening vantage point?
I mean, if if Bioware, if all they could afford at CES was 2 minutes, then fine. That you can edit all that out. Then that's fine. But if it was just a thing of we're trying to make it, short and sweet, and you had time, you should have did that. You should have gave the time to see that. But that's important to me. That's sort of one of my cons. I'm like, I like to see the actual transition. How are we moving? How do we do the enemies like lock up on your? I see a hub, but like how do you contact the enemies, or how do you see if the enemies are within your vicinity? Is it your VI? And I know you said you wanted to talk about the VI as well.
I mean, the UI,
The UI.
user interface.
No. The VI. I thought you said something about the. He had a person that was talk like
Oh, Sam.
yeah.
No,
Is his name Sam?
I believe it is Sam, but it may not be. It might be an acronym like ED.
Hmm. Yeah. So that'd have been cool. Um. What else we got here? I mean, like I said, the pros were the UI, the user interface. I loved it. Um, the overall gameplay was cool. I don't have any issue with that. We just gotta, like I said, I actually have to get my hands on the game now. So now that we're 74 days away from it, the countdown begins. So we just have to wait until it actually happens. Other than that, there's nothing else I can say about a 2 minute gameplay. Hopefully, once we get closer, I'll say like around February or within that March range, they start releasing more gameplay. Hopefully, we can get a beta of like a
Yeah.
multiplayer. Hopefully, an open beta or a close, whichever. Then
Well, I hope I get to play in the beta, open or otherwise.
did you know that you could sign up for
I
a
did.
close?
Yeah, I've signed up. Um, and to bring up something that may be relevant, PAX East is uh, the weekend of March 12th, and I will be there Sunday. hoping that BioWare will be there and that they will be showing something.
Hopefully, if you get some gameplay, or if you get like anything, just send it over, and we can post it up.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can get that. Uh, yeah, no, it wasn't bad. Like I said, it was okay. I just want more gameplay, and that's it. That's all I would love to see. Um,
At some point before the release, I would like to see, you know, half an hour of gameplay, start to finish, no editing.
exactly. And I hope they fixed the facial animations too. I hope that was just like we just kind of threw this out because the first like full blown gameplay trailer where you see like Sarah, there was like a huge ass.
Derpily smiling as she stole the gun.
Yes, I was like, what in the hell? Like, what is this? Like, people were people were going like shit crazy because that animation was so poor. It was like, what is going on? But they'll
Uh,
hopefully they'll fix it before it work out the
I
kinks.
believe Aaron Flynn and or Mac Walters have tweeted that facial animations are not final and they are aware of that particular issue.
Well, see, you're on top of it, that lets me know that they're listening to the community. They're not just saying, you know, whatever. We don't really care what you're talking about. This game is great. They're listening to the community, and they're actually actively on the forums and paying attention to what's going on. So every time something like this happens, or something like when they actually release gameplay, they're looking for the trailer, or they're looking for the feedback from the fans, because the fans will tell you right up, hey, this is what's going on. We don't like this, X this, or this, that, and the third. Even though the game's done, they can still iron out the kinks that they can.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think they're just polishing and bug fixing at this point.
yeah, that's all I would think they're doing. They're just fixing whatever they can at this point in time. Um, Other than that, the game looks great. The first gameplay looks great. Now we're done with the trailer talk. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation that we're about to have. So the specs. I when I seen the specs, and I'm not sure if now Mark, make sure you correct me if I'm wrong. These are the specs. This is what I've heard. I've got it from multiple sources. They tell me that this is what it is. So right now, the specs for the PlayStation, not the PlayStation Pro, but just the PlayStation 4, 30 frames per second at 1080p, which is fine because the PlayStation, I mean, it wasn't built for 4K. But for the Xbox One, which I feel like, why did BioWare decide, or whoever made that decision, that we can just kind of skip on, the Xbox One? It's 900p. Why? Why are we still in this day and age making games and developing them to run less than what's the standard now? 1080p is it's the standard, and it soon is going to become. It's probably going to become a little bit lower than the standard. So for a game to run at 900p is ridiculous for me. I'm just like, what's going on?
I, you know, Microsoft hasn't really had a hardware refresh for 3 years, and honestly, when the Xbox One came out, it was a little underpowered.
Right?
Uh, you know, I would not also be surprised that, given that the PS4 Pro was going to be released and Scorpio was not, that BioWare may have put a little more time into getting the PlayStation version a little more polished.
Well, because and you know what, that may contribute to the reason why they said we're not going to go as hard on Xbox One, because they're probably saying the Scorpio's coming out, and this is just my speculation. This is not anything that I've heard, but this is what I'm making from the for the only reason they could say we're going to gimp out on making graphics or making the graphics for the Xbox One so minimal is because would be the reason because they're actually developing the game to run better on the Scorpio. So that may be the reason why it's running at 900p. I mean, if you take a poll and see how many people actually play on Xbox for Mass Effect, I don't know. It probably would be split between PlayStation and Xbox, maybe.
No, uh, I'm pretty sure the PlayStation will be a bigger market, at least initially.
You think so? I haven't played. I guess I've already pre-ordered the game for PC, and I've already checked. I fact checked it. It's going to run? It's uncapped. The FPS is uncapped for PC, and it should run at 4K. So I mean, as long as you got the hardware to run it at 4K.
Yeah, that's always the issue with PC. What kind of hardware do you have?
I mean, but that gives you the flexibility on PC. Like you can you don't have to run it at 4K. You can run it fine at 1080p as long as you have the hardware. The hardware is what really would stop you from not being able to get the full extent of your graphics for Mass Effect. Unlike PlayStation and Xbox, where you're kind of stuck to that. And I think that 30 frames per second. That's another thing. 30 frames per second. That's not good either. Like I don't think that if you're not used to a 60 frame per second game, then you would be going down to 30 seconds, 30 frames per second would be like that'd be going backwards, completely backwards, like in every sense of the way, because it makes no sense. Games that run at you should be able to make a game run at 60 frames per second. Now, this is the side of me that goes into like my snob mode, because I'm like, no, games should run at 60 frames per second. It should just be a standard throughout the industry that your game at this point in 2017, hell, even 2016, games for consoles to even compete or be in the same market for people not to ditch consoles, the developers have to start making their games run at 60 frames or nothing less. Now, other than go ahead.
If you're going to be on consoles, which their hardware came out 3 years ago, and it wasn't all that impressive even then. If you're going to you can either do 60 frames per second or 1080p. You can't quite do both. Well, presumably on the Pro you should hopefully be able to do both, but original flavor PS4 and Xbox One, I don't think it's possible unless you're gonna do stick figures.
You know what? I just it's when I seen that, I was just like, there's no way. Like there shouldn't be this shouldn't be a standard. It should run a lot better, or you should at least make it 1080p on both consoles. But like I don't know, I feel really weird about that. Like I'm not, like I said, if I were a console, if I was to buy this on console, or if I was kind of stuck to console and I had no other choice, I would kind of be upset. But we'll have to actually see how the game actually looks. And from the gameplay on Xbox, it kind of it definitely looks down res. It definitely looks down res. I was just like, this game doesn't look as good as I think it should. Like when I first seen the first gameplay, that was on the Pro, but for people who already own a PlayStation 4, you wouldn't get the Pro, so you'll be stuck at 1080p, which isn't true 1080p. A lot of these consoles don't run at native 1080p. Like Xbox, the first Xbox and PlayStation 4 do not run at native 1080p, and that's the truth. But
They can, but you have to sacrifice a lot.
you shouldn't have to sacrifice for this, though. I mean,
As well, as I said, uh, that generation, the they, I didn't think the specs were all that impressive. I mean, I remember when the 360 came out, those many years ago. I think it's a decade. Fuck. Uh, the graphics card for that time was pretty impressive.
no, I definitely look at the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 was ahead of its time in every single way, but because of the price tag on the PlayStation 3, it didn't sell that good. You gotta look like the PlayStation 3. If you look at it, the PlayStation 3 was way before its time. You know, backwards compatibility, Blu-ray player. Like, dude, the PlayStation 3 was a beast when it first came out, but the price, Sony was losing money essentially.
Well, that's the console game. You lose money on the console itself and make it up on hardware. I mean, games.
Yeah, games, and then Sony was essentially losing money selling that console at $600. I was like, how much? Apparently, the technology at that time to make a console backwards compatible cost a fuck ton of money. So, Sony definitely was ahead of the game, even with the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2, no, I take that back. The Xbox, the first original Xbox, was ahead of its time because if
Well, it was I think the first console with its integrated hard drive.
it was that first Xbox was definitely ahead of its time. It was those graphics compared to any other console at that time, they blew them out of the park. When you did a comparison, like a side by side, the original Xbox was killing every other console, but PlayStation had already made its, or they've already set their flag down in the console race, and nobody was really buying into the Xbox. But the Xbox was definitely ahead of its time, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But and then when we go to the 360. The 360, which the first Mass Effect came on, to me that was fine, but everything, every year stuff gets better and better, graphics get better and better. Hopefully, like I said, this Andromeda, hopefully Andromeda looks a lot better than 3 was fine. Mass Effect 3 was fine as far as graphics. 2 definitely stepped it up.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's on par with the consoles of this gen. Hopefully, which I think it will be. I don't doubt from all the stuff that I have seen, it should be on par with everything that we have today, or should have today. But what do you think, Mark?
Yeah. This is BioWare's second game with Frostbite, so I think they should get a little more juice out of the engine.
That's right. That's right. The Frostbite engine. So, I mean, that Frostbite engine is beasting. It's definitely a beast in itself. It's like, look at Battlefield 1. Like, that game looks awesome. It just looks great. So, based off what I see from other games, the Frostbite engine should definitely give Mass Effect a facelift, if not anything else. But like I said, I did enjoy the gameplay. I just need to actually hold it, get my hands
you
on it.
you just got to play it for a little while to
Exactly.
see how everything actually connects together, how it really looks, what the transitions are like.
Exactly. I just need to play it. Um, like I said, at first I was skeptical, but now seeing the actual interface and how everything is, it looks a lot more streamlined. Um, the customizations look pretty good too from the previous gameplay or from the previous um, game trailer.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. I don't have any kind of like anxiety from waiting for the game. It's just me waiting for the game now.
I'm a little concerned about, you know, uh, as a first time playthrough, and you not knowing the game well, being able to switch up and change your profile sounds good, but I'm a little concerned as how I'm going to feel the second time through,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm assuming this is going to be a long game, and by the end of the first playthrough, I'm going to have some fairly strong opinions as to which sets of skills are good against which enemy, and I wonder if that's going to make the second playthrough less interesting.
Well, it does it seem like it could be more of an open world game, a bigger world than the other ones. It seems like
Oh yeah, I have no doubt it's bigger. It just you know in my recent playthrough, I knew, if I'm playing Geth, I'm gonna bring Tali and probably some other tech specialist. If I'm gonna be facing Krogan or Reapers, then Biotics is probably the way to go. And I'm assuming something similar is gonna happen in Andromeda.
I mean, what would be the weakness for the cat? Because I mean, for all we know right now, they're the priority villain right now. So we'll,
Um, you know, Given that the remnants seem to be vulnerable to tech, I'm gonna guess that the Ket are vulnerable to biotics, but whether that's actually true, don't know yet.
don't know exactly. Well, we'll see. The cat may be the one of the opponents where you just have to like definitely tie down and you know come up with the actual game plan instead of just shooting or running and gunning. You actually have to have some kind of technique or some kind of chemistry with your team on how you build your team. Who knows? The cat did get a lot of backlash for their design. Um, as I said previously, I like the cat's design. I think it's cool. Um, just give it some time; it'll grow on you. Um,
Yeah, I think it's fine so far, but uh, what have we seen? 3 minutes of them, plus Game Informer article.
right.
So, you know, uh, not really enough information to form strong opinions, at least in my point.
Right. I like the cat. Like I said, I'm not basing my opinion off of what I've seen, but I'll just sit back and leave the expectations away for right now. I just like their design right now. It looks like they could be one of your main villains. Maybe we don't really know too much. BioWare has been really hush mouth about it, about the villains, other villains, if there are other villains, and is there going to be like another Vorcha type race? Because the Vorcha were like just like pure evil.
Well, that and they were kind of swarmy attack dog kind of things.
Yeah. It wasn't the
But
Vorcha. Was it the Vorcha? It was
uh, I, not seeing inside your brain. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but
okay, so the guys that look like Freddy Krueger.
with the really big teeth,
Yeah.
they slobbered a bit,
Yeah.
or at least they sounded like they did.
Yeah.
Didn't show up until 2.
Yeah.
Yep, that's Vorcha.
Vorcha, yes. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. The Vorcha. Yeah. You had me second guessing myself. I'm like, I know that's the Vorcha.
Sorry.
Don't- second guessing myself. I'm like, I know it's the Vorcha. No. But yeah. Maybe are we gonna get a race that's like just pure disgusting and disease riddled like the Vorcha? I just like are just into like fuckery all the time? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, how many Andromeda races are we going to see? Don't know. I mean, so far only 3,
Yeah, so far.
and details on all of them are pretty scarce.
We'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll definitely see how this goes. But yeah, that's I like I said, I have it. That's my only biggest gripe about what's going on in the specs. And I heard that was ridiculous. Um,
Well, unfortunately, I think those are kind of standard for this generation of consoles. Um, Disappointing, but it's not as if you can go inside them and pull out and upgrade your video card.
that's true. That's true. And you're getting it on what, Xbox or PlayStation?
I am getting it on Xbox, yeah.
Xbox. Okay, makes sense.
If nothing else, just to I don't know, be consistent in my Mass Effect playing.
Now there was a rumor about making a trying to associate the trilogy with Andromeda. I'm not sure if there was any follow up on that rumor. Like
What do you mean associate? Um,
any gameplay that you had with the trilogy, it and
in other words, how say in the original trilogy, the saves from 1 and 2 could affect following follow-up games.
right.
Yeah, everything I've read says no. Um,
I've seen a few articles that they were trying to dig a little deeper about it, but I don't know if they are.
yeah. The leaving date certainly renders anything that happened in 3 moot, because you're leaving before the start of 3.
Right.
And I don't know that there are any major choices in 1 and 2 that would be relevant in another galaxy. I'm sure the Rachni, whether you saved them or killed them,
Mm-hmm.
they aren't coming with you either way.
That sucks.
Let's see, what else was there? Caden and Ashley.
Right.
By the time you get to Andromeda, they're both dead.
Well, of course they're dead. I wouldn't expect the human species to live unless they put them in cryo space or something, or cryo freeze, and here. Of course they're dead. Our bodies decay faster than bananas now. It seems like. But no, it'll be nice. I know they were talking about in the books, and actually it looks like we do have time to talk about the novels that you wanted to talk about.
Well, they finally gave official release dates. Well, actually, only on the first one do they have a firm date, which is a week after the game, the 28th. Um, and the next two are summer and fall,
Summer and fall.
which and fourth novel is no longer on the list, but it was supposed to have been done by Mac Walters, who is also lead designer, so he may be a little busy.
You think he may? You think?
uh, there was also talk about it connecting to a potential movie,
Really?
which
No, I did. We talk about that. I swore we talked about the movie, or maybe we didn't.
well, we mentioned I was under impression until early, until I heard this thing that the movie would deal with the first trilogy. This sort of hints that it might not be.
Huh?
Um,
You would think they would want to make a movie about the Well, I don't know how you would like pack that into one movie. The trilogy itself.
no, I gotta think you'd have to do it as at least a trilogy of movies.
Exactly, but that'd give them more incentive to make more movies about Mass Effect, though. Um, and then you got to think about the protagonist. Um, who's going to be the protagonist?
Uh, yeah. Do you you know canonize male or femme shep?
Like honestly, who's the most popular? Is it FemShep or is it just Shepard? Who is popular amongst the community? Who would people prefer to play as? And that's how you would go
Uh,
about.
you know, I would say male shep, but I'm getting the impression that as time goes on, the femme shep may be picking up steam. But
Okay. I mean, I think it'd make more sense only because it might be people might be split about the who you decide to be the protagonist. I think it'd be better just to go with Andromeda, or because Andromeda it's kind of like you got brother and sister combo. So either way, there it kind of sets it up to where okay we can actually pull this off with a movie because both of them are included in the game and they're
right,
interchangeable. So you don't have to worry about it being some kind of what's the word I'm looking for, like um canonizing it or just making it fit the actual game because it does fit. They just weren't in the same place all the time. You just decided to play who you wanted to play as. But hey, I think it would make more sense for them to do it for Andromeda as opposed to the trilogy. But I mean, we would still like to see the trilogy. You can make a trilogy. Well, no, you couldn't make a trilogy movie without Shepard. It'll sort of have the. Have you watched the have you finished the Lost Paragon? Let me ask you that.
I have not.
Okay, so you need to finish the Lost Paragon. The Lost Paragon is
That'll be my homework for the next talk.
definitely we're gonna talk about the Lost Paragon and why it's such a great movie. But yeah, the Lost Paragon, they did a good job not pointing towards saying that Shepard was a male or a female. They just was like Shepard, and
Uh-huh.
they weren't saying that Shepard is, he's such a great guy. It was just like they addressed Shepard by the title, Commander Shepard, and that was it. So you don't
Right.
know, and that was a good job. And people, I think that movie's well underrated. It's underrated, if anything. A lot of the Mass Effect or the quote unquote Mass Effect fans aren't even aware about that movie. And I'm just like, how do you claim to be a Mass Effect fan if you don't know about the Lost Paragon? That's the only movie they have. I mean, good grief. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, definitely watch that movie, and then them actually making a live action. You think it would be better if it was a live action movie
Um,
or a just an animated movie?
they have pros and cons. If it's live action, the budget's going to be humongous, which may mean, uh, you know, that producers round off any rough edges and sort of homogenize the series just to play it safe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if it's animated, then they can probably get away with it. You know, you can do anything you want, and it's not going to explode the budget. On the other hand, uh, you know, there are probably a certain percentage of people who won't see it then.
I mean, you can still go see it.
Yeah, but
They
I
can,
don't know.
they can still put it to the silver screen. It'll just the budget for the promotion would have to be it'd have to be on par though. You definitely would have to let people or make people aware that there is a movie and that it's going to be animated. Um, as far as like the ratings for that, the like what would be rated as far as like would it be like rated R or
I'm thinking
PG
PG-13
13?
just because, you know, there isn't anything in Mass Effect that really requires an R. I mean, you skip Blue Asari butts, and make sure that the violence doesn't get too splattery. You can hit PG-13, and your audience is potentially a bit bigger.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, actually, yeah, you would definitely appeal to a lot more people if it was PG-13. A lot. You gotta think about the hardcore fans too. Some of them be like, "This is not Mass Effect without some intertwining of space sex somehow."
Embracing infinity.
You can have a few relationship scenes or here and there. You kind of do it like what Star Trek does. It's very very not. I don't want to say subtle, but like it's there. It's not like hardcore because you gotta think about every Mass Effect. There's always that scene.
Yeah, I don't know. Two, they were always wearing at least some kind of covering,
Yeah, that's true.
but although sometimes it was kind of silly, like uh, what was her name? No, actually that was three, where she was taking a shower in her underwear.
Yeah, I was looking like that. I was like when she got like busy with FemShep. You talking about Trainer?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, this is stupid. Like what? I was like, that that was not needed. I'd rather just no. That definitely was not needed. But it was. I think the one with Miranda was actually the hottest one. I think. You don't think so?
no, I'll go with that. Although it's been a while since I followed that path.
Oh, dude, you have to just YouTube it. Oh man. Oh man. No, there's actually one. There's a video floating out there. Where
Yeah, I know there are videos for every
what
potential love interest.
no this one video in particular. I don't know if somebody like modded it or maybe it was like a hidden scene, but this video it's damn near X-rated. It's like it
Sounds
it's
like someone modded it then. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Damn, did they focus on Miranda's ass uh, a lot? But I don't remember the love scene being all that spicy.
It's with the Asar. It's with Liara and Femshep.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I'm lying. I lied. It's Liara and regular Shepherd, and it's intense. It's very intense. When I watched it, I was like, "This has to be modded. There's no way. This is
Yeah,
modded."
actually, I just played 2 with a Liara, uh, and it was not. Let's just say I would feel comfortable showing it to a 7-year-old.
You would feel comfortable or wouldn't?
Would.
I would.
It,
Okay. So I need
it,
the not safe for work ones though. I don't need. I need the not safe for work. I need those ones. I don't need the oh, this is so cute and lovey. No. I need the ones that you gotta tuck underneath your head while you're watching. You're like, oh man, this is some premium stuff right here. I should be paying for this. Oh man, let's not go left on this one.
Let's wander back.
Let's come back to this. All right. So overall, we like the gameplay. We got an official date. We got the specs, which I'm not doing. I'm upset for the console players or the people who play primarily on console. I'm upset about those specs. I think BioWare needs to get their shit together with that because that is just not that's not acceptable. I'm sorry, man. That's not acceptable. But other than that, we just wait. We're just waiting. We're just waiting for.
Shall we guess as to when the next gameplay drop is?
Okay,
I
so
figure there's got to be something in February, but I can't think of any particular event.
think about that's what I was saying. Like whenever the next con would be, or the major con,
Or maybe the Game Developer Conference,
maybe because
which uh,
doesn't some well no Sony already had their press conference. Whoever has their conference out that's when it's gonna be. Other than that, honestly, I think we can wait. I think we're okay. And honestly, the thing about it is to think about CES. CES is not even a place where video games thrive at. That's for tech. Like that's pure tech anyway. So
right.
it was nice for them. It was actually just it was sort of a nice gesture for BioWare to say, "Hey, here you go. Here's a small tidbit of what's going to happen in months to come." So CES is not for video games, so that was cool.
Yeah.
But we got an official date, so we'll be ready for it. We know
That's right.
countdown begins.
Now, all I have to do is freeze myself for 2 months, and
Yep. Make sure you tell your work that you're taking you're taking something. You're taking a sabbatical or something. You're going back to school.
I don't think they're going to buy that.
Yeah, you're doing something. But I'm ready. I think we had this argument or this debate last time when it was going to come out. You were like April, or you speculated April or March. I was like it could be April. I don't think they would wait that long, but March.
I was getting the suspicion that they were hinting that they were not so sure about their initial release dates. Not that March 21 was officially announced, but it certainly was a strong contender.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. March would have been well. March is the time that everything is happening. Honestly, you got the Switch coming out at that time as well. So
But
that,
no switching BioWare.
yep, Switch and BioWare. So if you're a Nintendo fanboy, there you go.
Yeah, I'm curious about it, but they're playing that one pretty close to the vest.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, Nintendo's not really releasing too much on that, but
I think next week or the week after, they're supposed to have a conference when they're going to be talking about release dates and specs and price tags.
yeah, I don't listen to like the guys that send out speculations or that. I wait till it actually comes from the Nintendo rep themselves saying these are the specs. And then when they give me that, and then when the system actually comes out and I see these specs, then that's when I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. It's it's what it was expected, but I don't like to listen to other outlets that speculate or get rumors or whatnot. No, I just need the upfront information.
Yeah,
But that's cool though. I mean, if you, it's great. The month of March is great. It's if you have a birthday, that's great. If you love Mass Effect, that's great. If you play Nintendo, so if all three of those things are happening in the month of March, then that is your month. Then so you know, I think I might just take my birthday and play Mass Effect. My birthday is in April, and I remember you said your birthday was in April too. So I think we'll both be calling off work for our birthdays to waste on Mass Effect.
that might happen.
I'll take a week off and just play it and just lose myself into it and do a game review. Um, I'll definitely have a lot more videos up of that if I gotta record it. I gotta clear some space off of my stuff too before the game actually comes out. So there's that. But other than that, Mark, do you have anything else before we wrap this up?
Well, here's a little tidbit on Tom Taylor's. Uh, he used to live in Chicago, which is why his IMDb uh, is so thin. But he actually auditioned for the part for James Vega.
Really?
Yep. Didn't get it, obviously, but he did try it.
Repeat that name one more time. You kind of phased out.
Uh, Tom Taylorson auditioned for James Vega.
Oh,
Mass
okay.
Effect 3.
Okay. He wanted James Vega. Okay, that's cool. That's a nice little tidbit. Maybe you should drop tidbits every podcast. Here, if you didn't know that. I'm serious. Just drop like little nuggets for everybody. If you didn't know that, now you know. That's gonna be like your
That'll be my obscure fact of the podcast.
Hey, yep, you got it. You got it. You drop one nugget. You have a lot of information that people need to know. So definitely drop that diamond out there for people. Hey, if you didn't know, here you go. Boom. So I mean, other than that, I'm dry. I'm dry as dry can be. As dry as the turkey for Thanksgiving that I had. That I'm
Or the Sunday afterwards.
Sunday. Usually it's thrown out.
Where the thought of turkey sandwiches or turkey soup doesn't quite make you vomit, but it does not fill you with joy.
If you got to eat a turkey sandwich, I just feel bad for you. I feel bad, like turkey sandwich. At least put some mayo on it, man. Good grief, put some mayo on it. Some ketchup. Ew. I'm about to make myself gag. But yeah, I have nothing else for you guys. We're gonna wrap this up. Look out for the history of Garrus. Look out for a breakdown of the Ket. Those two videos are going to be up. Again, sorry for the podcast issues with the hard drive, but this is going to be up. And if you made it all the way to this video, thank you. I want to thank Mark as well for joining for another great podcast. Mark, you got any last words before I wrap this up?
I have nothing.
All right, Mark has nothing. What?
Well, nope. Cora as the female human name has been confirmed in that last gameplay video.
Okay, another nugget. Mark is dropping nuggets, so he wants you to go to the bank. So whenever you're around your friends and you all are a bunch of Mass Effect nerds, you know the information that they don't. There you go. There all you go. Anything else, Mark?
No, I think I'm going to save anything else for future podcast.
There he goes. He brought his bag in. He's not throwing anything else out. So I want to say again, thank you for joining us, Channel Mass Effect. If you like this podcast, go ahead and hit that like button, and then also subscribe to our channel. Other than that,